Hey guys, it's Joe. Um, Very personal vlog today. Not that my vlogs haven't been personal, but um, this is something I've wanted to talk about for a while. Something that might help other people if I talk about it. And frankly, it's something that has affected this channel over the past 6 years or so. So from that standpoint, it is pertinent to the channel. All my life, I have dealt with this. The past 6 years, I've come to terms, at least in terms of understanding parts of this. I should say there's two main things that I'm talking about, really. One is depression, and one is anxiety. I'm going to start with depression because it's something I've been dealing with all my life. I didn't fully understand it until, the past few years, like I said. But I don't want to go into all the details, but my childhood was rough with my parents getting divorced when I was 12. It was a very unhappy home. There was emotional, mental, physical, verbal abuse all across the spectrum. My father kind of took care of the physical part. My mother was very much the verbal, emotional, and mental guilt trips, the whole, you can name it. I mean, it was just it was a very cold home. And so from that standpoint, it just kind of was beaten into me that I was worthless. Later on, I would come to understand the chemical aspect of depression. It really is a chemical imbalance. There are nights, in fact, last night I just had a night where everything was fine, and all of a sudden, it's kind of like if you're outside and a storm just kind of rolls in. There's no real reason for it. Sometimes there's triggers, but sometimes it just happens, and like I said, it's a chemical imbalance, and all of a sudden, boom, I was just in a dark place. Nothing I could do about it. Like I said, it's kind of like a storm. The most you can do is kind of get indoors and wait it out, and that's kind of what happens with my depression. So, and I had all that other stuff, and growing up, not understanding what depression was, and I want to say this because I want others out there to know, if you're going through this, I want you to learn quicker than I had to. I'm 45 years old. Past 6 years is when I finally came to terms with this stuff. Honestly, most of my life, I just thought I was an asshole. Most of you guys know me as a pretty nice guy, and I am inherently a nice guy, but I have moments where I come across horribly, and it's because of depression and anxiety. No excuse at all, because I never got a handle on it. But I really just thought I was just acting like my family was. My family flies off the handle, with a temper and everything else. My family has depression and anxiety. It runs in my family. We're all like that. We get back into a corner and we lash out. My family just never dealt with it. My family's, obviously, I'm 45, so they're way old school where, if somebody's depressed, they're just feeling down. They're just bummed out. And anxiety is just having a temper. It wasn't until the past 6 years that I understand now what the whole process is. And it's helped me deal with it. Because I can see it coming now, but I still have my moments. I've been speaking to somebody lately, and I had a situation where I was going to be very anxious. I knew it was coming. I had somebody that was going to be very confrontational with me, and had been, and I had to deal with them. It's somebody in my life, and so I didn't want to lash out. I didn't want that anxiety to win. So I approached them and spoke to them about it. And they gave me some great advice. Something that seemed really strange to me in terms of how I deal with my anxiety or how I've dealt with it, is that if there is that confrontation, if there is that moment where you're going to feel backed into a corner, just feel the anxiety. Just accept the anxiety. Just just because you have anxiety, just because you have that feeling, doesn't mean you have to react to it. And so it was hard for me to just, because, you know, I've also been raised in that, like, you don't let the other person win. You don't back down. You don't just tuck tail and run. You know, you fight and you win. So I think that's part of my situation too. But I was like, okay, I'm just going to accept that this is going to be an anxious situation. And I don't have to say everything to this other person. The other person's... See, this is another issue I have with life, is that perception is reality. It doesn't matter what is true. If somebody perceives something a certain way, like if I back down, if I don't fight, they're going to perceive they won. They're going to perceive that I'm a wuss or whatever. You know, there could be multiple reasons. That perception has always frustrated me. So I've always sought truth. I've always fought for truth. And I always want to have conversation, have communication and be on the same page and totally understand each other so that there isn't that weird perception. But I was taught by this person who gave me this advice that I've got to let go of trying to win every battle, of trying to always have truth prevail, because there's just going to be some people that are going to be the way they are, and there's no way to ever change their mind or anything. So I dealt with him as quickly as possible and as little as possible. It was much less painless, or much less painful than I thought it would be, and it was over and done with, and everything was fine. So I'm learning to just kind of let that anxiety just wash over me and just let it pass. Again, it's just that feeling of being backed into a corner. And it's hard sometimes because it's such a reflex. And I know, again, it comes a lot from my childhood. I was the youngest of 5 kids. I was the punching bag for most of the family. And when it came to my parents, I was the tug of war rope that they were using to fight in the courts over, you know, child support and whatnot. So it was hard being an object. Not the kind of object I'd like in my life, but I was treated as an object for a long time. So it took me a while to figure that out. Again, 45, and in the only past 6 years that I've really come to grips with some of this. Now I have been on medication for it. There was one medication that was doing the job to a degree. The problem is with a lot of those drugs is they dull you. You get very numb. You get very kind of, you don't go these really high highs or these really low lows. And that's the thing. You don't really have it. You get evened out, which is kind of good because it does avoid those really low moments. But you almost get numb to the point you don't feel anything. And that's not exactly how I want to live my life. So I'm now trying to deal with it and figure it out with, you know, therapy and just dealing with it on my own rather than have a medication. I also found the medication was affecting me physically in ways that I didn't like. So I went away from it from that as well. But the reason I'm putting it on this channel is partially because it's affected this channel in the way that it's hard for me to be happy and make content sometimes. There's no other way for me to put it. When I made videos, when I pushed content, when I was doing my thing, mostly like between 2011 and 2013, 14, I had a passion. I did everything I did was because of this passion and love, and it was all positive. And there were things that happened. I'm not going to go into details, But at the end of 2013, a lot of stuff came crashing down for me. Obviously, having to move from NC to Michigan, and there's a whole lot of other stuff. But frankly, my heart got broken, and it was a struggle to continue on at all. And so, even now, when I keep trying to make content, when I keep coming back saying, hey, I want to come back and make this, hey, I'm going to start doing this, and then you don't see a lot of follow through, I want you to know I'm as frustrated as you are. You know, I want to do this. I miss not just making stuff, because a lot of times it's a great outlet for me. I miss being happy enough to truly follow my heart and make stuff. So I'm sure it looks like, hey, you know, he's just inconsistent. He's whatever, lazy, whatever you want to say. It's just been hard to follow through. My love of WoW has obviously dissipated. I'm just now playing it again, and I have some things that I want to say about it. I don't like making videos like this where it's not like a guide or something that's going to help you. This is just me blathering on. I have some opinions on the current state of WoW that I want to do, and I guess I'm just going to make that, even though that's not what I normally do. But I just want you to know I'm trying to get back to that person again. It scares me sometimes that I may never be able to be that person again. It really scares me. But I'm trying. Moving away from Michigan, moving to North Carolina again, I think will be a big step. Frankly, this winter has just been a complete depressing thing. Physically, it harms me. I have really bad sinuses. I get sick a lot, and just the brutal battering of even just going outside, like that polar vortex and all that stuff, I just cannot handle that anymore. So I'm trying to get back to North Carolina, and I hope that will at least be a part of a good process of getting me back to where I used to be. But I just want you guys to know, partially, like I said, if you're struggling with anxiety or depression, I beg you to speak to someone. I don't care who it is. Speak to your doctor. Speak to a therapist. Talk to your parents. Talk to a friend. Start the ball rolling in terms of figuring out what is actually going on and how you can face it and understand it for what it is, and then cope, and then handle it and work through it. It's not there's no quick and easy fix for it. The medication would seem so, and it might not be a bad first step to at least get things under control, so then you can then start to work through it a little easier. It kind of worked that way for me. But whatever it is, I beg you to look into it, because it's harmful on so many levels. And I don't want to see anything bad come of it for you guys. If everything I've been through, and even just yesterday, and how I was just down in the dumps yesterday, if that can help one person, then please get some help. Talk to somebody. I beg you. I don't want you to have to go through what I've been going through. It is frustrating for me, because a lot of you guys see my videos where I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. I want to get this done and this done. And I have like a notebook full of ideas down here. But then I'm just struggling personally, so it's hard for me to create. Maybe that sounds like a lot of artist mumbo jumbo to somebody, and that's fine. If that's how you are, then that's cool. I'm not talking to you, obviously, at that point. I'm talking to people that really get this and understand this and go through this, and I want there to be openness between us, and I want there to be openness within yourself to be able to say, hey, yeah, I'm going to call this what it is. I'm going to stop trying to pretend or stop trying to deal with it on my own. You know, I want to understand it so I can then work through it. That's what I want. To that standpoint, I might start doing another channel where it's just personal stuff like this. Maybe that will help me work through this stuff. I don't want to keep putting stuff like that on here. This needs to still be gaming stuff. And if maybe I have another outlet like that, I can then do more on my gaming side. I keep getting excited. I just bought myself a freaking $100 Elgato video capture card so I can start streaming and making content of my Nintendo Switch and my PS4. And I just bought Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption 2 on PS4. And I've been in love with Spider-Man since I started playing it. I streamed it a little bit yesterday. And I keep getting excited about that stuff. And then this other stuff happens and I'm just knocked out. I just kind of crawl into a ball. And I can't fake being happy. I can't keep a stream schedule because I never know when something like this is going to happen. And I don't want to keep saying, hey, I know I'm supposed to stream tonight. Excuse me. See, lingering cough that just won't go away living up here. But I want to be consistent. I don't want to keep saying, hey, I can't stream tonight. And I don't go into details, but I don't want to sit here and say I can't stream tonight because I'm depressed, because most people don't get that. Most people would just say, well, then fucking cheer up. It's not that easy. I've been in Michigan up here for 6 years. I've been completely depressed the past year in particular because of everything I've been through. And I'm coming up on an exact year from when, let's see, I had a heart attack and my fiance dumped me and kicked me out. And then now I'm up here living. The only reason I came up here was to be with her. And now I'm living completely alone in this godforsaken frozen tundra bullshit. And it's not been easy. And it's hard for me to feign happiness and make stuff. I hate it. I want you to know I hate it. And the reason I'm being this open is, like I said, if you are in a similar boat, you're not alone. You see all these content creators that just keep going and are consistent and are amazing, and it makes people like myself feel inferior because we're broken. But we're not. There's a lot more of us out there than you know. And the reason I'm, like I said, putting this out there is I want you to know you're not alone. Please don't think you're alone. And if you struggle with anxiety or depression, please look into getting help. Please look into defining what it really is and understanding what it really is. The only way you can stop it, the only way you can at least cope with it, is to understand what it really is and what it means to you. It may work in different ways for different people. But don't just accept that there's nothing you can do about it. Don't sit there and say, that's just who I am. It's a part of you. It's not who you are. Please work through it. Please get help. Please do what you can, because you deserve it. You're not broken. It's just an obstacle that's in the way. Work around it. You can get through it. You can break through. You can get by it. You can. And I want to see more people really come to grips with this stuff instead of in this country where we just don't understand mental health or don't believe in mental health. I want to see more people talk about it. I want it to be more open and out there because everybody has something, and it's about damn time that we stop pretending like there's a norm. We all have our struggles. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to start a new channel where I vlog about personal stuff. If and when I get that going, I'll let you guys know. But this will be the last time there's anything like that here. I'm hoping to work on some content. Like I said, I've started playing WoW again. I've got these other capabilities for my consoles. Follow me on Twitter for more information on that stuff. Follow me over on Twitch. That way you know when I go live. Of course, here, if I do put videos, make sure that you're subscribed, of course, and you got to have that. I hate doing smash that like button and subscribe and make sure you got that bell on for notifications. Yeah, that typical YouTube shit, but unfortunately, it is all very true. Yeah. So anyway, hopefully this helps explain a little bit of where I've been and who I've been over the past 6 years. But moreover, I hope that it helps one person just say, hey, you're right. This is something I've been putting off and I need to deal with. You're worth it. All of you guys. I'm worth it. We're all worth it. Just get help. Figure out how you can improve your life. You deserve it. So, anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate it, and I will talk to you soon. Well, like I said, once I get that other channel set up, I'll let you know more about it. So, and until then, until I have some video game content, take care. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourselves, guys.